Good evening, everyone. Sorry, good afternoon, everyone. I am Pooja Kumari, HR Associate and OD Coordinator of SK Associates and Group, and we both are your host for today talk show. And please introduce yourself.
Hi, good morning. My name is Maria Daka, and I'm your host today. I come from Zambia. It's in the southern region of Africa. Thank you.
The only things that stand between you and your dream is the will to try and believe that is actually possible. It's a beautiful quote by Joel Brown. So this quote I would like to bring our talk so named Conversation with Consultants with episode 40 of our guest talk series.
Thank
Before we
you.
begin our talk show, let me briefly introduce SK Associates and Group. We are an ISO certified management consulting firm registered under the MSME Act 2006 with the Government of India. Our mission is to provide consulting services to student entrepreneurs globally, covering areas such as compliance, operations, marketing, research and development, human capital strategy, and operations. Our passions lies in helping these budding entrepreneurs bring their dreams to life and contribute to economic growth.
Entrepreneurship is a catalyst for change and innovation. It's a powerful force that can reshape industries, transforms lives, and make the world a better place. We are committed to supporting student entrepreneurs on their journey, equipping them with the tools, knowledge, and a network they need to succeed.
Now, before we begin our show, let's take a moment to introduce our guest for today. It gives us immense pleasure to welcome Maria K. Daka, founder My Way Homes, to this special event. We are truly honored by your presence today, and we are thrilled to have you share this momentous occasion with you. We would like to start this interview with our first question for you. Your first
Okay.
question is: what inspired you to pursue a career in construction interior design?
Okay, thank you. That's a very good question. Growing up as a young child, I would groom things, you know, especially for the interiors. If I put a pillow in a certain way, I put a rag in a certain way, it would always come out well. So I grew up with that gift of grooming things. And so after my university, and I decided to continue and doing it at a very small scale. So what I started to do was I started with relatives' homes. I would go there and just, rearrange the whole place and it would look beautiful. Also, I would go to a building, a construction site, and I would tell them, you've put this window wrongly. I think the door should face this side. I think the color of paint should be this way for this space to look beautiful. And that's how I decided to commercialize um, the business. So it comes from a place of a gift. I can't. It's a gift. It's a talent that I had, and just decided to commercialize it because I realized I was good at what I was doing. I mean, I hope I've answered your question correctly.
Moving ahead, your next question is what were some of the challenges you faced when I starting in this industry?
Oh my gosh, it's a very, very good question. Mostly I'm into interior designing and construction. So this is a male-dominated industry back in Africa and in Zambia. And so being a woman is one challenge that I had because people would not take me seriously. You know, when you find a child client, being a woman and being vulnerable in this part of the world, other clients would just want to objectify you. By that, it was like doing you a favor for them to give you a job. So one of the major challenges I've had is stereotype or prejudice and just gender, I'll put it gender stereotyping and the gender disparities that are there in our society, be it patriarchal, meaning male dominated. So the challenge I've had was people not taking me seriously because I am a woman. And these are the perceived jobs that should be taken by men. Also, the challenge I've had in this industry is it's just growing in Africa, especially the southern region of Africa. What does interior designing mean? Why should I hire an interior designer when I should do it on my own? So it had to take a lot of convincing, a lot of marketing, and a lot of awareness to make them understand that, look, this is where an expert comes in. Mind you, I want to really mention that I'm not a traditional, interior designer. By that, I mean, I did not go for a 4-year course to do the program because I'm a lawyer. So, this is something that came out of passion, reading, studying, and just the talent that I've had. So, to cover it all, the major challenge first is number one, Zambia being new to this industry, it's a new concept. So, like trying to just get there and making your clientele understand was kind of difficult. Secondly, also materials that I need for my business to thrive are not readily available within our country. So it has to do with a lot of importation. By that, I mean going as far as Asia, America, just to order these goods that I feel would look in a certain way in certain spaces. So there's an aspect of importation, there's an aspect of inflation with our country where our country is not true trading, our currency is not true trading so well. So, and most of the things I need are supposed to be imported, though others are used by local artisans. Yeah, so that's basically the major challenges. To cover it all, to summarize it, the major challenges at first have been one, being a woman in a male dominated industry. Trust me, it's double trouble. It is double trouble. And just to make people understand the kind of business that I'm doing and just to convince people to hire me and just the availability of resources and materials that are required in this type of industry. Thank you.
It sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay, moving ahead, next question.
Mhm.
How did your education or early training prepare you for the work you do know?
Did I get that question? How does training prepare me to a level that I do not know? Right?
Yeah. Yes, yes.
Yes. So, I'll be very honest that capacity building is very important in entrepreneurship. By that, you need to know business marketing strategies. You need to learn how to keep your accounts well. You just need to know how to have to monitor and evaluate your projects. So, I mean, capacity building and training is very imperative now because I mean the world is, especially in Africa, I'll really contextualize it to my country. There's a lot of there are no formal jobs, and by that most people are going into the informal sector, but people do not have the know-how of how to run these businesses successfully. And so training is very important to acquire the adequate skills and knowledge to enhance and expand your business. And I think which is limited in this part of the world and would love most young people back in Africa, back in Zambia, to acquire these entrepreneurship skills and knowledge. So they're very imperative for the expansion of the business. Yeah. Thank you.
Moving ahead, your next question is: were there any key mentors or role model who guided you along the way?
Oh my gosh. That's a very, very good question. Firstly, I should make you understand that when starting, I made so many errors. By that, I did not know how to put up a quotation because I'm coming from this legal background. Okay. So I did not know how to draw up quotations. I did not know how to put up invoices. So I would mostly undercut, and I would find myself in serious messes because I would have not really evaluated the cost of the project well. So in the long run, I've found a few mentors in the business that have helped me, to just basically have some knowledge of how you go about this business. So I'm looking forward to having more mentors, especially around the world, so that I can even expand even more. Knowledge, what do you call this? Learning is an everyday journey, and I'm looking forward for that opportunities. But yes, I have a few mentors that have helped me through this journey. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great. Moving on, next question. Can you share any early experiences that taught you valuable lesson in construction or design?
Wow. So very good. I'll share this one with you. So I would also love to say when starting, I had more losses than wins. By that, I will I had a lot of scammer clients whereby I would do the work, and instead of them acknowledging me to be the one that has done the work, I found myself in situations where, especially by some influencers, I would find them marketing my business as theirs when in the actual sense I did the work. So in the long run, there's been issues of trying to patent my work, because basically this is intellectual property. So I've had very tough situations where I did this house, and this is a very big project, and the client started to perpetrate as the interior designer and had to have done the work. By that, I lost clients in that the promoter, rather the influencer, started to pick my potential clients instead of me having them, because at that time I did not have the proper marketing tools. By that I mean social media tools to really advance my marketing skills. Yeah, I hope I've answered your question.
What were the first projects that helped define your career path?
Oh, wow. That's a very nice question. So, I think the first project that um, actually made me um, opened rather my career path is a project that I did for one of our country's influencers. Yeah, I did a project for one socialite in my country, and he advertised me that this is the person that actually did this project. And through social media, I found my phone buzzing, a lot of messages coming in for me to handle our other projects. And today I'm proud that I have over 65 projects running, Yeah, so that really changed the course of my journey. We are growing, but it's one step at a time.
Nice.
Okay. Uh, how do you manage the technical aspects of construction alongside the aesthetic goals of interior design?
How do I manage the technical side? So what I usually do is I hire experts in that field. By that, I mean I hire, let me say, plumbers, tilers, bricklayers that have expertise in that field, and I manage them. Yeah, so there's things that I do not personally do, but I subcontract other, artisans, local artisans, and other companies to just, help me with the technical side of my business. Thank you. Any question?
Yes. Moving ahead, your next question is how do you keep up with the evolving trends and technologies in your field?
Okay, so that's honestly very very difficult, but like I mentioned earlier, I use clients. For example, what is trending now is having a visual or graphic, designs of a particular project. And I do not have skills in that because, like I mentioned, I'm a lawyer. I de- actually do not know how to put up this graphic or these drawings or these architectural, drawings. So what I usually do, firstly, is that I work with um, experts. Secondly, I do a lot of research, a lot of research, a lot of reading, and yeah, a lot of online reading and tutorials, and I keep learning every day. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. What are the most important skills you have developed in your career?
Okay, thank you. The first is firstly, the skills that I've developed is project management. By that, how do you run a project? How do you keep track of the project? So I've learned monitoring and evaluation skills. I've also learned how to keep my accounts, well, because I mean, that's something, nothing I had ideas about in the start. Yeah. And I want to mention that in the beginning, it's a growing business. So meaning it's a sole trade business. By that, I have to handle because there's an aspect of intellectual property. Yes. And so um what has made me grow in my business is just certain skills like accounts, project management, how to emotional intelligence, personal intelligence, marketing strategies. How do I handle my clients? How do I keep the professionalism, but keep it in a warm way? So those are just certain strategies that I've used to, uh, yeah, grow my business.
Okay. Your next question is how do you balance creativity and functionally in your designs?
Um, Thank you. I how do I combine creativity and functionality? Is it functionality?
Yes.
Okay. How do I so firstly, when I look at a space, it goes back to the type of work that I'm doing. Is it a commercial project? Um, is it a residential project? So, firstly, I will first look at the type of project that I'm handling. Is it a business premises? Is it a boutique? Is it a fast food area? Is it let me put context to it. Is it a house? Is it an office? So, firstly, I have to really know the type of work that I'm doing and the use of that particular project. Is it a is it a business premises? So, firstly, when I look at the type of papers of that particular project that I'm doing, I usually tailor make it to that kind of arrangement. For example, I'll give you a practical example. If it's a commercial space, I mean, there's certain things. I'll talk about furniture. If it's a commercial space, there's furniture that I need to put in that space that would be firstly easy to clean, very strong, user friendly, and so on and so forth. So if it's a luxury apartment, what do I add to a luxury? So it differs according to the type of project that I have. And so that's how I infuse my creativity depending on the space and project I'm working on. Yeah.
Okay, moving ahead, next question. What strategies do you use to build strong relationship with contractor, architect, and other team members?
Okay, that's a very, very good question. So, some of the strategies that I've used so far to build that connection is trainings. So, we have this interior design, what can I call it? Association where we have other experts. So I build capacity, I keep a connection with them through, some of these trainings. And I think, yeah, some of these what can I say? Associations meetings where we meet and we mingle and we share insights. Yeah, thank you. I hope I've answered the question correctly. I don't know.
Your next question is, how do you approach problem solving when faced in a design or construction challenge?
Okay, so firstly, when I'm first with the problem, I go back and really find out where the problem is coming from and how can I rectify that particular project problem. So firstly, it's identifying of the problem. And secondly, I look for a solution techniques to that particular problem that I first. I'll give you a very practical example of one of my biggest projects. It's on the it's called the Copper Belt, where the mines in Zambia, and I sent an electrician, okay, to work on this project, which is a massive project. And the electrician, in a project, the most sensitive part is the electricals. And this electrician messes up, like big time, breaks the wall, does things that I didn't ask him to do. So there's a technical problem, or yeah, there is a problem. So how I handle it is firstly, um, I'll use creativity, okay, to rectify that mistake. Firstly, I'll identify the problems. I'll bring in expert. How can we, solve this issue? And just basically rectify that problem. By that, I've just given you context. This um, electrician goes to one of my big projects and breaks the wall, not in a way that I had asked him. And what do I do? As an interior designer, I just came up with another design to just modify the space and make the space, look more presentable. By that, sometimes you have to use techniques and the knowledge and skills that you've acquired to just um, m- um, what can I damage control that particular problem that I have incurred.
Okay,
Yeah,
moving on,
thank you.
next question. How would you describe your design philosophy?
Um, simple and simple, functional, and cozy.
Okay. Your next question is, what factors do you consider first when starting a new project?
Okay, thank you. What factors do I consider most? Number one is the scope of the project, the proximity of the project, the size of the work. Um, what else do I? The needs of the client, and I come up with something.
Okay. How do you collaborate with client to ensure their vision is realized?
Oh, that's a very good question. That's a very good question. Sometimes it's so hard, but I endeavor to ensure that their dreams are brought to light. By that, I mean there are times when I will have to incorporate what they want in their spaces. I'll give you a practical example. This is a client that I'll be contextualizing to especially to residential spaces. So this is a client that holds sentimental value to this 1940 table, for example. By that, it's a very odd table, maybe not in a good shape. For lack of a better term, I would call it outdated, but how do I use it? So I can modify it to ensure that particular aspect that they hold sentimental value to them remains within their spaces. So mostly I work with them, work with their dreams and what they want, and we sit down on the table. They'll tell me what they want, and I'll bring in my expertise to bring what they want to light. Okay.
Okay, your next question is, what's the most challenging part of the creating a space that is both functional and beautiful?
Oh my God. I think, firstly, I would say it's very mind raking. It takes a lot of study and analysis. By that, I mean, it takes to have proper measurements of the room, one area. It has to take looking at the size of the project that you were doing and tailor making things according to the size of the space. Yes, because it's that's where you also have to work with other experts, because as an interior designer, I can't work in isolation. I need to work with the contractors. I need to work with, the architects. So I, I ensure that each space is tailored or has furniture or has fixtures that are tailor made for that particular kind of space. In that way, the space will be very functional. And sometimes, like I mentioned earlier, I also look at the type of what's the purpose of that project. Is it a hotel? Is it a luxury hotel? I mean, it needs proper fittings. Also we go back to brands. Is it strong enough? Is it a good brand of materials that I'm using? So it just trickles down to the size of space, what materials I add in that size of space, and many, many other things. Yeah.
Okay. Can you share a project that pushed your creative boundaries?
Wow. Okay. I have a project that um of one of my clients, and the client came to me when the project was completed. By that I mean he wanted I'll contextualize that. By that I mean this is a residential complex which the clients wants it to be turned into service apartments. But the challenge was the project came at a point when it was completed. The building was completed, but the downside was the contractor did a shady work. And so this project was mind raking in that I had to control the maze, and it had to, challenge my creativity. I had to think outside the box to ensure that that space comes together and looks to standard and beautiful.
Okay, your next question is, how do you approach creating designs for different types of space, residential, commercial, etc.?
What do I consider when I think the questions, these questions are all intertwined. What do I consider? I'll mention it more and more and more. Firstly, I consider the scope of work. By that I mean the size of the project. What is it used for? And what is the timeline of that project? Where do they want? Because there are clients that actually do not believe in local artisans. They would rather want luxury items to be imported. So some of those things are some of the things that I consider before starting a particular project. Is it a residential area? Are children? Is it a family? Because I sometimes work with homes, meaning families. Is this a family that has young children? What kind of functional things should I put in this house that will not get broken at the end of 2 days because of the toddlers or minors? So those are some of the things that I take into perspective.
Okay, moving ahead, next question. How do you ensure your design solution reflect the unique needs and preference your clients?
How does my what's the question? Please ask the question again. I didn't get that one.
How do you ensure your design solutions reflect the unique needs and preference of your clients?
Um, they reflect the design needs and unique of my clients because they have a touch of what they want. Is it a traditional touch? Is it a minimalist touch? Is it a luxury touch? So my designs are very unique in that you can see a mixture of styles in them. Is it contemporary? Is it luxury? Is it traditional? Because in Africa, there's this aspect of the traditional aspect, So I feel I create very unique designs which are not monotonous, but very beautiful.
Okay. Moving ahead, your next question is, how important is the teamwork in a construction and interior design, and how do you collaborate with others professionals?
Okay. Like I said, you work hand in hand with architects, you work hand in hand with contractors, you work hand in hand with landscapers to it cannot It's actually the interior designing starts at construction level. You need to work side on side with the constructor, because um, all the people building, because you need to bring your ideas to light. By that, you need close monitoring and close monitoring and supervision and collaborations as you do the construction work. For example, I keep giving examples. For example, this is what can I say? A hotel space, and it's a commercial business. So before, there are different stages. There's the plumbing stage, there's a wiring stage, there's a tiling stage. So before we get to the tiling stage, I should ensure that all the wires, all the sockets, all the lights sources that I need are already put or incorporated on the wall, is when I need to go to the next level. So it's very important to work firstly with maybe architectures. I'll tell them to specify how I want, this project to turn out. After I finish working, I'll start working with constructors who we adjust and readjust to make the space functional and beautiful. Yeah.
Okay. Can you describe a time when you had to manage difficult client expectation?
Sorry, I didn't get that one.
Can you describe a time when you had to manage difficult client expectation?
Oh, that's a good one. I had a very, very, very difficult project, in that it's a new concept in Zambia, so people do not really understand the scope and the nature of work. They would want an expert to conduct their projects, but they don't understand the work involved or the scope of work involved. So sometimes you find you have those disagreements because the clients do not understand. And so I'll give you another example. This is a boutique I'm working on in the CBD, and the client doesn't actually understand and is so adamant. You've come in with your professional expertise, and they want to do it in a certain way that you know is wrong, and they're very adamant. Now, how do you ensure that, oh, you don't lose it? Because some clients are very disrespectful sometimes in this part of the world. So, how do you ensure that you maintain your calm and you ensure that what you want comes to light? So yes, that's one of my difficult projects I faced, was a boutique. And to be honest, I had to cancel that contract because it was so difficult for me to navigate around it. I had to terminate the contract.
It sounds good. And next, moving ahead, your questions. How do you manage timelines and budgets while ensuring quality is not compromised?
Oh, that's um, a very good question as well. So it's actually very, very difficult on this part of the world, but we endeavor to ensure that we deliver quality. By that, I mean we go to reputable um, suppliers. I'll give you an example of we order things from other sides of the world. So I order materials, for example, from China. I'm ordering fabric from India or Dubai, and I'm trying to, maximize on good quality, but sometimes due to constraints, you buy them online. So a supplier might have said, oh, well, this is the best quality. And sometimes it coming to the other end, you realize it's actually grade two or grade three. So what I've learned over time is to stick to reputable um, manufacturers or suppliers. And in that way, we ensure that we provide quality staff. And you've mentioned an aspect of timeline. Sometimes working within the speculated time frame of the project is very difficult, because what I've realized is sometimes because our aim in our company is just not to commercial to run very big commercial projects, but we have a way of giving back to society. By that, we have a way to ensure that we provide services to average Zambians that can afford, because sometimes this interior designs and construction can be a bit expensive. So what we do is we try and source for local products that are reasonably priced and target an average Zambian. So the challenge that we've had sometimes is the inflow of cash. We've sometimes made these clients to in other projects, we've conducted these projects in phases, and so sometimes you find at the end of one phase you find a client. These I'm giving this example of local Zambians, average of Zambians that cannot afford that whole luxury, but they have income coming at intervals. So for those, what the challenge that we face with timelines is sometimes they cannot have they don't have enough funds to execute the next level of the project. So sometimes it has been so hard to really beat timelines, especially for these kinds of projects that we are kind of giving back. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, your next question is, what has been your proudest moment or most rewarding project in your career so far?
Wow. Yeah, so I call it Project Chamber. It's on the Copper Belt. I think this is one client that has one project that really enjoyed, because my client is very cooperative, and my clients want to see my skill and expertise. I do not have been a lot of challenges where a client, no, don't do that there. No, don't do that there. No, that kind of thing. That project, the client has given me the liberty. So in one of the residential Project Chamber is a project after my heart, because it always makes me smile because of the type of client I had.
Okay, moving ahead, your next question is, how do you handle conflict or challenges that arise during the course of project?
Okay, so there's I handle those challenges mostly through dialogue, because those challenges usually come almost all the time. And so the first strategy that I've used is dialogue. We If it's an accounts issue, if a client feels there's been say he can't tally the figures in accounts, or yeah, so what we've done is we make sure that we dialogue, we sit down the clients, we make each other understand. So dialogue and having proper conversations is what has really ensured that we handle some of the major challenges that we've had. Of course, there are challenges that we've wanted to go to litigate, by that going to court, because we felt some of the challenges were beyond us. So like there's certain projects that would let the courts handle. Yeah.
Moving on next question, and this is your last question. What advice would you give to someone starting out in construction or interior design?
Firstly, you know, love what you do. There's worth in love. By that I mean love what you do, do not relent, keep pushing forward despite the challenges, and keep doing it because over time you become an expert to what you're doing. This would go out to a lot of women that, dread this field is do not look back. The first step is to start going through this journey. And where do you get your resources from? So sometimes, intellectual property is something that you can start even without a certain form of capital. So the first step is for you to start. And how do you start? You can develop your niche, identify yourself with something that you're good at, and run with it. So I'll give you an example of myself. I started this out of passion. I found myself grooming spaces and I just decided to commercialize it, right? And it is something that when I do gives me fulfillment. I'll give you an example. The legal side, I find it very stressful. But if I go on site and do the other things, I find them relieving. I don't feel the stress. So the first thing, that advice that I would give to one that wants to start this business is go on. The first step is, I don't know what policies you have or what laws you have in specific countries, but the first thing is start with incorporating, start at a small scale, one brick at a time, because sometimes a business takes years to develop. Mine has been running for 10 years and it has been challenging. So start at a very small space and keep building. The other advice I would give is I advertise your work on the Eve platform to take your to attract your target market, develop good marketing skills, put your skills out there, and just start. Do not relent, especially the women. Do not look back and just, keep pushing. Thank you so much.
Moving ahead, we would like to express our sincere gratitude, Maria K. Daka founder, My Way Homes, being our guest for today at Conversation with Consultants. Your presence and engagement helped to make it a success. Thank you for providing insight into your inspirational journey. Once again, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for hosting me. I'm so humbled, all the way from India. I'm so humbled and looking forward for future engagements with you.
Further, we could also like to thank our audience for listening patiently throughout the event. Thank you everyone for joining with us today and hope that everyone has gained some knowledge from this event. Looking ahead, we are excited to announce that our next episode 41 of Conversation with Consultants will be held next weekend. We hope to see you all there. Thank you again and we look forward to reconnecting with you next week. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us all social media handles to stay connected with us. Goodbye and have a great day ahead. Thank you.